Welcome, everybody. Here we are once again. And today, guys, I have a client, a buddy, somebody that we've been working together now for, over a year now, I think at this point, almost a year and a half, actually. Guys, today I'm joined with agency owner Jim Rustman, who has been in this business for years, has tons of experience, and has built an incredible business, an agency that has so many things going, so many systems and things in place that help agents really succeed. And I asked them to join us for a little bit, give us a little bit of time. Somebody who's I see your videos out there. He's talking at conventions, guys. This is a player in the industry. And I appreciate you being here and giving us a little bit of your time, guys. Jim Rustman from Rustman Agency. How's it going, brother?
Good, man. Appreciate the time, Oscar.
No, absolutely, man. I appreciate you being here. I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot of things going on. And so appreciate you having us. Guys, today, we're going to talk about how important systems are and how finding the right home as a new agent is critical in success. If you're out there and you're a newer person thinking about joining insurance, or maybe you're in insurance and you're not happy with the scenario that you're in, or you've been doing this for a while and now you're just looking for a different home, right? Because you're at a different place in your career. Guys, tune in. We're about to get into some really awesome stuff. Let's kick this thing off, guys. Fantastic. Okay. Getting right into this thing, Jim, I'll let you obviously give a little intro, but what I know is that you're an ex-cop. You're a police officer, who was in that business for a long time, and you became an insurance agent. And over these how long have you been doing insurance now for?
For about 7 years.
7 years, man. 7 years, cop turned insurance agent, and now agency owner. Give them that little rundown of just your background. What brought you into insurance and from being a police officer?
Basically, I spent about 15 years in that career, and I was just getting tired of it. Basically, it was I was working a lot of overtime, couldn't see my family, and really just the I don't know, felt like crap all the time, and it just wasn't fun anymore. I needed a change in my life and my direction. And really how I ultimately found it was almost 90% of what people find it now is a ZipRecruiter ad. Talked with a agency owner and for a couple hours, and I was like, I don't know if I should do this. This doesn't, but I know what insurance did. It provided a lot for my family when my father passed away. I knew that was something that was going to work. I went in, got my license. It took me about 3 weeks to get a license, and then went full speed in. And
man,
that really kind of like in the short end of it really did it. Was it hard in the beginning? Yeah, absolutely. It's hard in the beginning, but with good mentorship, with good understanding of what you need to do, work hard, hustle, provide what you need to provide. $20,000 months turn into $40,000 production month, and that money. Let's just be honest with it. Income is driven in the insurance world, and it's driven by yourself.
And and for those that are out there that don't know, you guys and your agency, you guys really focus on, I know, obviously final expense insurance, a mortgage protection. So it's really a life insurance shop that you're running. You became an agent yourself first and foremost, and went through that growing process of one, finding the home and then grinding it out to get to another level. And then from there, growing. I think it's important, Jim, for people to understand a little bit of that, right? When you started, obviously it was 7 years ago, so the business has changed completely, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever do the door knocking, or did you go right into telesales?
No, so I actually did door knocking, and I drove 3-4 hours for appointments.
Wow.
That's what I used to do. And I used to fly all the time to different states for leads.
Okay, no kidding. Right. And I hear a lot about this, teams that do this, right? That will actually buy batches of leads in a particular city, round up a bunch of appointments, and then travel to that city and just do 3-4 days, a week or something like that, right? And you guys are just out there hitting the pavement, going in. And that's an interesting model to me, right? It's always been, I come from just a telesales guy. I've never done a door knock in my life. I've just, since I was a kid, working on phones. But it's always been an interesting thing to hear, and there's success there, right? Obviously, that's turned a little bit, but 7 years ago, I think that was like a gold mine, right? Doing the door knocking, and it was just, it wasn't introduced, right?
Yeah.
How was it when you obviously you got to a place, I think, where you understood that, man, flying, right, or driving 3-4 hours, that was literally sucking up hours and days and months of the potential production that you could have. What were the things that you were like, man, I need to switch, maybe I need to look at telesales? What was that shift like?
I think when COVID happened, when COVID happened, I was actually still doing the driving. People let me in their home still. They weren't worried about it. And then the lead costs started getting really high. And that's where I was like, man, I got to be profitable in this business to really, really make sure I'm doing something right. And I just started doing a lot of research. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about digital leads, what that looks like. And I've always been told telesales is kind of the game where it's at. But I like that interaction with a client, right? So you're sitting at a table. Telesales is different. You just have to interact with it a little bit differently. It was back in, I think, 2022 is when we met, about over 2 years ago. And I really did a lot of research. I found you through some friends and some other people in the business and in the industry. And really, that's what took it off. Was I nervous about doing telesales? Because I was just all into doing in-home. And going to the telephone, you guided me in kind of the right direction and what to do. And you set it all up. And it was just really that easy transition. Because right after I transitioned into digital sales, because I tried digital sales before and it just didn't work. I don't think it was the right time for me or something like that. And I think the first month we did business together, I think I wrote like 22 grand. And you're like, what? That's crazy.
Well, what's interesting is, for you, obviously, I can see why you would why you did so well face to face. Obviously, as a police officer, you're engaging with people every single day. That's just at nature where what you were doing. And it's interesting to hear, right? And this is something for new people that are out there coming into this business or in this business, understanding that you have to be able to adapt. You can't be scared to try something just because you've never done it or just because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You've got to be ready to take charge, right? And make change and adapt to it and work through those challenges. And that's exactly what you did. I still, to this day, man, I still talk to people about this because we started your campaigns. And you're one of maybe 2 or 3 people out there that I've ever worked with, and we worked with 400 or 500 people at this point, that the amount of production that you get out, and of course now you're really more leading agency, coaching, recruiting, so you've gotten yourself off the phones a little bit. But man, when we first started and you were on that grind, it was like, dude, you would spend 50, I don't think you spent more than 50, 60, 70 bucks a day on ads. And I'd have these calls with you and you're like nonchalant too, because that's like your nature. You're just like, I think I wrote like 30 grand off of like $800 in spend. Tell us a little bit, right? Because that's obviously speaks to how good you are, right, at sales, how good you are at understanding and pulling somebody's need out and then hammering that down to get them to buy or do business with you. What does that look like? How are you able to, if you had to maybe summarize it, how are you able to get someone to say yes to you, right? When you identify there's a need, what are maybe 1 or 2 tips that you can give a new agent out there on how you get someone to really buy from you?
That's actually, those are some good questions. But I think the key that everybody really appreciates is honesty. And you being straightforward with them and telling them exactly what they can or cannot get. There's so many times where you're like, oh, I think we can get you this, or I think we can do this. I'm on the phone and I will say, hey, Oscar, what medications do you take? And what is the issues you have? Because I'm going to tell you what you can get and what you're not going to be able to get. And this is what we're going to do today. And I make
Mm,
sure I close it, and I always say, hey, this is what we're going to do today. Do you
mm.
understand that? And
Yes.
and I always am like, they get on the phone, I just want a quote. Hey, you know what, Oscar? I totally get you want quotes, but you know what? You can get quotes all day long.
Mm,
100%, you can get every single quote you want. But what does that matter? You need to get coverage today, correct, Oscar? And it's simple, right? And people are like, well, and or yes. And what is the difference about getting a quote than applying for a policy and making sure you're covered, because that's what you want to do today,
mm.
right? And it's that convincing today, or you're going to do this today. And I
Yeah,
think that's where a lot of agents just get so flustered, or so, oh, well, I'll just give you a quote and hang up the phone and then never hear from them.
you
You
got it.
know? Yeah.
Man, those things. So for me, right off the bat, there's two important things that you do there that I think people need to really hone in on focus on. If you're seeing that your conversions are low, you're not getting the sales that you want, but you're speaking to people, right? You have to make sure that you're not selling price, because if you're out there selling price and just giving people what they want, which is a quote, everybody's going to ask you for a quote. That's 9 out of 10 calls that you're going to have with people. They want one thing, and that's the quote. And if you're selling price, you're going to die by price. I've always been one to believe that you have to be able to sell value, right? And knowing that you're not an order taker, right? And I say
Right.
this to when I was training agents, man, you're not here to bring them chips and salsa and take their lunch drink and their lunch order, right? You're here to be a professional, to guide them and to show them what's available and what is going to be the best option for them. And the second part, Jim, that I hear from what you just said is controlling the conversation, and almost at every step of the way, assuming, right? You're assuming the sale when you're saying things to them like, hey, this is what we're going to do today. Does that make sense? Right? The person doesn't have a whole lot of options there, but to say that absolutely, that does make sense. And those two things alone, guys, are so important. And Jim, again, is someone that when we had these calls about your own production, I was always like blown away, man. Like, man, this guy's producing, you produce at such a high level, which now fast forward makes sense that you are where you are, right? Because now you've which for me, recruiting and building an agency has to start at the agent level in proof of concept. Can I do this? Because if you can, then you can go teach people how to do it, right? And there's so many people out there that start off just recruiting and before they ever even know how to sell a deal, right? And you're the complete opposite, man. You're a top tier closer, and now you've taken the formulas and the things that work for you, and now you're teaching others how to do it with your system within your agency. Tell us a little bit about, real quick, now you're getting yourself to that point where it's like, I want to start bringing people on, I want to start teaching people. Once again, you had to adapt. Once again, you had to take on new challenges. What was the biggest challenge when you decided to take people on, which took you off the phone, which was money-making activity? What were those challenges that you faced then?
I think it's finding like-minded people that want to do the same thing, and people that are willing to work hard enough for something they don't have right now, and
Mm,
giving up a little bit. I had
wow.
to give up a little bit of family time to get where we're at now,
Yeah.
but it was at a couple of years, absolutely. And my wife will tell you all day long that it was worth it. And the one thing I'm really I'm really proud of to say this is my wife was a school teacher, and for about 13 years, right? And now we've built a big enough business where she's a stay-at-home mom to all four of our kids. And that is
Man.
ultimately what this business can do if you just let it happen. And with recruiting and building your systems, guys, there's so many things out there, but if you don't personally lead from the front in an organization, nobody else is going to show you. You
Mm,
have to personally lead your production and personally lead your people, because then they're going to follow those people. Those people are going to follow you.
you got
That
it.
is what I like to tell people is like, lead your organization from the front, produce at the level that you can produce at, and don't stop even when you're bringing people in, because that money's good, that override is good, but nothing
Mm,
can beat your personal production for your business to supplement that.
Wow. That's an interesting thing, right? That you find a lot, which is a good thing that you say, where agents get to that point where they're like, man, I'm making good money. I'm going to get off the phones and start recruiting and focus only on that. And they quickly find that that money that they get from personal production is really a big component, right, of cash flow, of capital that you need to give you the ability to recruit and grow your agency. It's not stop one, start the other. It's now we got to double down. And like you said, that includes and comes with sacrifice, right? Big part of sacrifice of like, well, I now got to figure out how I can do both, even if it's just, I know it's not, it's a means to an end, right? I'm not always going to be doing both, but for me to get from here to here, I have got to combine these two things and manage them. And at heart, you're a leader, right? That's clear, man. Whenever I talk to you, the way you talk about the people who are in your business, your agents, how you treat them, you're always putting them in front, right? It's always like, well, what can I do for this person to make it better for them, to make it easier? And I say that because I have the experience of talking to so many agency owners that in some cases, guys, they're just trying to make a buck, right? They're just trying to see where they can make a buck off of you. And it's about them first, not their employees. And with you, which is part of your success, right, is you're always the one that's like, well, no, can we do it like this? They can save a little bit of money and get them in the system. And no, use my leads, use this. You're always one to do that. And so I think, aside from everything else that you've done yourself, you have that leadership. You understand what it takes to lead others and to lead by example. And man, it's been an incredible journey to see where you started, and I'm super grateful to be able to be a partner to you and to help. And I know there's times when we'll talk and we'll spend an hour just shooting the shit and just talking about all kinds of things in the business,
family, all of it. That's good.
And one of the things that I think it's important now, speaking to maybe that person that's thinking about now bringing agents on and looking for a structure, right? Because now what you have is the ability, right? You've built a system where if someone's out there and they don't even need to be licensed, right? Whether they're licensed or they're not, if they're looking for a structure, right, that has a good startup system, if you're not licensed, pre-licensing courses set up, the whole thing is already ready to go to your trainings. Sometimes you'll be like, hey, meet me in the Zoom room, and you'll send me a link, and I drop into a room and there's 20, 30 people in this thing and people are dialing, and you've built this system where an agent can tap into, get training, listen to others that are succeeding. And then when they get to that point where they want to start building a team, you've also incorporated that into your business. Speak a little bit of that. Somebody comes in, they work with you as an agent, and now they say, man, Jim, I'd love to have a little team of my own. What do you provide to those people to help them do that?
It's a full complex system. We built a recruiting system that we drop agents right into. They don't have to have any experience. They get leads coming into them. They set their group interviews up, and they're building their team. I've always been that type of person to help somebody else outside of me. When you come with us, if you were to come to our organization, like you said, we have training, we have leads, we have everything else that's there. The pre-licensing course is set up, and it's amazing. And then on top of that is you're not going to be left alone. We have agents that are brand new coming in, dialing into a system. We have our Zoom room set up, so it's all there. And especially if you want to build a team, the system we have built is a primary function to what massive teams are looking to do.
Well, and for me, it's been incredible, again, obviously, to see the growth that you guys are having, but to be able to play a part. Because I think the big thing here, guys, is Jim controls his own marketing, right? He doesn't need you to go buy leads and test lead vendors. He's got under him an audience and an ad account that has been producing now, right? And he's ran tens of thousands of dollars through over the course of these 2 years. And so he has the marketing component already built out. He has the recruiting component already built out. and the training, which for me, I think is super important, particularly to people that have never done sales.
Correct.
In some places, we'll go buy leads. Here's a paper script. Go figure it out. Call me when you get a deal. You guys, you're hosting these trainings. You have ongoing Zoom rooms where people are listening and paying attention. And I think it's just really important out there, guys. Jim, and I want to preface this. You're a broker type of an agency, right? You don't work with just one carrier. You do have the ability of many. Is that correct?
That is 100% correct.
Awesome. Not only are you have the whole system, you have all the carriers, right? Then we talk about money, right? Commissions. And from what I've seen, man, you guys are above and higher than most of the payouts and commission structures that are out there, even given the amount of tools and systems and things that you're giving to people at no cost.
Correct.
And for me, guys, it checks all the boxes, right? And I've myself been an agent, right? Obviously, I manage now more marketing, and that's all we really do. But I have an eagle's eye view of so many agencies out there, so many structures and systems. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have you specifically and promote you is because of all these things that you do for people. And I wanted to make sure that if people are out there, right, if you're out there right now watching this and it's like, man, I'm interested in hearing about this system because I'd like to join Jim or I'd like to hear more about his team. Below this, you're going to see obviously a link. It's going to go directly to his team, his recruitment system. Go in there, guys, talk to him, talk to his leadership, because you're going to find that there's very few options out there that can provide you the system, the tools, and everything that Jim is going to be able to do for you guys. Jim, another question for you. When people come in, right, and they want to work with you, what are the requirements? Like, do you make them get a certain amount of states? Obviously, we know that that's an important piece, having the right amount of states. How does somebody start with you other than the pre-licensing course? What are other requirements?
Obviously, getting more states in the digital aspect of life is the way to go. I like to tell people a minimum of five to seven states, and there's states out there you can get for like $25. It's not an overly large amount of money that you need to invest. But again, and really, all you need to come with is a sense of urgency, a sense of hustle, and the ability that you're probably going to fail fast, but fail really fast, and we'll help you.
Man, incredible, man. Jim, man, I think we'll wrap it up there, right? I know you got a lot going on. You got another call, and every time I talk to you, you're like, man, I'm traveling. I got another convention to speak at. I love seeing it, man. I appreciate you giving us some time. Do you want to share contact info? How can they reach you if they want to get to you? I know obviously you're on social media, and we've had those talks where like, man, I'm not that guy, but I see you out there, man. I see you pushing yourself, posting more, building your organic, which I think is fantastic. I think it's the next level of getting yourself out there. But if anybody wants to follow you on social media, how do they find you?
You can go on to RustmanAgency.com. I'm on Facebook, Rustman Agency, or you can creep me on that with Jim Rustman, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I'm all out there. It's
I love
everywhere.
it, man. I love it. I love seeing it, man. I love seeing you out there posting stuff and getting yourself out there. Guys, again, and you'll have the link below, somewhere below us. You'll have the link to go chat with Jim and his team about joining and anything else that you have. Jim, man, I appreciate you today spending a little bit of time and giving us some value and some insights for people that are out there. And always a pleasure to talk, brother. Guys, again, if this brought value to you, if there was something in here that you thought was good, share it with others, and keep tuning in. Again, I appreciate you, Jim, having you.
Man.
And
appreciate your time.
Thank you, brother.